Greetings, this is William Jackson. Welcome to My Quest to Teach. In this episode, I wanted to cover a very sensitive subject addressing the Trayvon Martin trial and the not guilty verdict for George Zimmerman. But I didn't want to address the actual trial itself. What I wanted to basically talk about was the repercussions or events related to Trayvon Martin and also Jordan Davis. I think these two events represent a paradigm shift, or should represent a paradigm shift for the black community, and not just the black community, but communities of color, because it represents how the legal system does work, and that there are certain injustices that are happening and going on. A lot of people that weren't familiar with the justice system did learn a lot about the proceedings, how it's carried through, the roles and duties and responsibilities of a jury, also that of judges, attorneys, district attorneys, and the whole legal process. Even though there were attempts to have a jury made up of the peers of the representatives of both parties, unfortunately, in my opinion, the peers represented George Zimmerman, but not Trayvon Martin. And in my opinion, there were some discrepancies, there were some misleading information, and there was also some manipulation as well. And I don't think totally the trial was based on race, but race was a guiding part or a great influence in the part of that trial. And I think people should be very cognizant and aware now of how the juvenile justice and the adult justice system works, and to educate themselves, and parents educate their children as well on the process. Many people feel that the system is unjust to people of color, not just blacks, but other people of color, and there's different opinions about that. But my take as a parent and my take as an educator is that there are many injustices going on, even inside the black community, and those need to be addressed. If blacks allow themselves to be called out their names, of course other people will call them out their names. If blacks disrespect their children, and disrespect their wives, and disrespect their girlfriends, and disrespect their parents, then others outside of the community will as well disrespect them. I heard a phrase, or I learned of a phrase called black racism during the course of this, that people talked about, and it was very unsettling to hear blacks say that there is black racism in relation to how blacks can just kill each other without any emotional attachment. How blacks themselves discriminate each other by not supporting black businesses or not supporting those people that are doing positive things in the community. People are not supporting black teachers in the classroom as they try to teach all students, but particularly as they try to teach black students that are being challenged or that have different types of challenges. And as a black teacher, and as a black man, as a black parent, there are many elements that need to be corrected in the black community. There are many black teachers that are teaching in predominantly black schools that want to be there, that want to assist students, not just black students, but all students, and that would like parental support, and that would like support from the community. But unfortunately, in some cases, they don't get that support in the way that they desire or the way that they need. My blog that I wrote was not intent to criticize the black community or criticize the white community, but just to highlight where improvement can be made in the communities that we reside in. Hopefully that this will, encourage and inspire people in the community to take a look at what they're doing and what they're not doing, and motivate them to be more involved and to be more active and to be seen in the community and participate in their churches and to volunteer at their children's schools and to volunteer more in the community because it is needed. Blacks have gained so much in different industries, different areas. They've gained so much in education, but still there are too many blacks that are comfortable where they are. And during the course of this blog, some elements may sound kind of harsh, but sometimes we need a wake-up call. Sometimes we need somebody to talk to us and let us know, hey, we're not doing what we're supposed to do in support of our children, because ultimately, as we get older, and our actions or inactions have effects on our children that we don't see. So it's always beneficial that the parents would get involved in the community, would share their ideas and share their talents and share their skills in and around the community to make their communities better. If people want change, they have to be involved in that change and not just sit around and wait for others to make changes in their community. I participate in a lot of activities and events in my community. I use a lot of social media to share information, and that is one way that I like to contribute. I share information about what's going on at my church. I share information about what's going on at my school. I share information about what I'm involved in the community when I go travel to provide workshops on bullying or cyberbullying, to provide workshops when I'm speaking about STEAM and STEM to young people, what STEAM and STEM is, how and why is education important. So my contribution to my community is to help support my community and bring my community up and hopefully improve my community through what I'm doing in my actions and to help young people. So my blog is called Have Blacks Grown Too Comfortable? And it made me look at what I'm doing and that I need to do more in my community. I need to be more involved, even though I am, because what I do or what I don't do has an effect on even the students that I teach at my school, where I go speak, for different speaking engagements, and even in my church. So these are lessons from Trayvon Martin trial and the upcoming Jordan Davis trial. So reflecting on those two elements inspired me to write this blog. Has Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis died in vain? Let me start off by stating that George Zimmerman received a fair trial. He had a jury of his peers. He was part of the system, and the system recognized him. Trayvon Martin, a young black youth with so much potential to do great things in this world. He was loved by his father. Hell, he knew his father. And he was a black man. Trayvon knew his mother, and his mother was black as well. How many can say that they actually know their mother and father? Trayvon did not have a fair trial, and he definitely did not have a jury of his peers. The term, the grass is greener on the other side, should make black people reconsider their achievements and their status in America. Trayvon is not the only young black man to die at the hands of a white man with a gun. Through the course of history, there are millions of Trayvon Martins, and blacks should have learned this lesson before. Sometimes too many people get comfortable with their position in life and need to have a serious dose of reality, like ice-cold water thrown in their face, to wake them up. Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis are in our faces, black people. So when are you going to wake up and see we must educate and empower our black children with the knowledge that they are black children? In a world where the laws are different, the rules are different, the education is different, the rules keep changing. There should be a Trayvon Life Month to celebrate the accomplishments of young black men and women while they are still alive, doing good in their schools, churches, and communities. This is a time for action and reflection to empower our youth. The civil rights struggles of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even into the 21st century, have come to fruition in the opportunities that are available. Andrew Young, former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, stated, "Higher educational opportunities, career opportunities, higher salaries, and more are available to blacks, better than any other country on the earth." Too many blacks seem okay with having a target on their backs because they refuse to educate and empower themselves with the tools to help them grow. We will never know what greatness Trayvon Martin would have achieved, but youth that are alive owe Trayvon their best in school, in church, in their community, and in their life. It seems blacks are becoming too comfortable for their own good. Society has many comforts and distractions. Blacks now turn down jobs that they used to accept, don't apply for scholarships for college, and complain when asked to come to parent-teacher meetings at their children's school. My pastor states that your attitude changes, so your appetite changes. This represents that blacks seem to enjoy being assimilated into this society and forget their cultural heritage of family, spirituality, and community unity. Instead of embracing each other, we sometimes seem to stab each other in the back. We have colorism and black racism on each other. If we can easily do it to each other, then other cultures think it is okay to do it to us. The ambitions and attitudes of blacks have changed from God and family first to money and possessions first. Too many blacks wait on the government to provide basic living support, sitting at home waiting for assistance. The troubling aspect is that generational slavery comes when children reflect the ideologies of waiting on checks and food stamps. Their will to improve themselves is slowly drained by parents that accept their status as dependents on a government that generally sees them as economic fodder, societal waste, and now targets for bullets. We kill each other so others think it is okay to kill us. How many deaths have occurred in black neighborhoods since the Trayvon Martin trial? Many blacks want to make changes, but unfortunately, it cannot take one person. It must take a community that is willing to sacrifice time, energy, and participation. Not necessarily money, because we all struggle in that area. But why can't we donate a certain amount of time to help in situations and circumstances and be consistent? The civil rights movement has opened so many doors, blacks seem to have forgotten the sacrifices, deaths, lynchings, beatings that occurred to give blacks opportunities to compete. Educational advancement and career choices once thought of as unobtainable are now available. Too many black youth make the excuse that math and science are too hard. Public education in the United States is still the best in the world. Blacks used the Bible to learn to read, copied scripture from the King James Bible to learn to write. Today, too many youth cannot tell you the books of the Bible and who David and Goliath are. Parents are not reading anything. Trayvon Martin's death should encourage the value and empowerment of life and education. He did not attend his graduation, so to honor his memory, every black child should graduate from high school for years to come. If not, what is the excuse now? The question is, are blacks too comfortable? In the entertainment industry, blacks have roles on TV series and movies. They are drug dealers, pole dancers, real and fake housewives, and have been elevated to the mistress of the president, making a scandal. What message does this send to our young black girls? Blacks have only risen as far as they allowed us to amidst the fact that assimilation breeds association. Many people may disagree with me, and many will call me names and talk about me and maybe even threaten me. But before you do that, think. Do you mentor children? Do you volunteer in your community? Do you work in your church? What level of education do you have? Do you have a library of books in your home for your children? Do you take them to the library and museums where you live? How many times have you gone to your child's school to attend meetings, PTA functions, and school board meetings? Don't criticize me if you are not doing most or all of the above, because I have and continue to do so in my community. The truth is, Trayvon Martin's death is an opportunity to connect with our children, our communities, our schools, and our churches. Embrace our accomplishments. Honor those that have lost their lives like Jordan Davis and others. Encourage you to forge ahead for future accomplishments. The grass is not always greener on the other side when you allow yourself to be assimilated. Blacks have not fully arrived. They just have the perception of arrival and the deception of total equality. As the Borg have stated on Star Trek The Next Generation, assimilation is inevitable. There are too many youth assimilated into the prison system. Too many single black mothers assimilated into the welfare system. Too many black youth assimilated into special education systems. Too many black men assimilated into lack of education and unemployment systems. We remember, viewing the documentary We Remember Rains by Emmanuel Washington, is a testament to the importance of black teachers, the need for quality black male and female teachers, the value of black parents that give a damn about their children. It shows the changes that blacks went through, even back in those days. Societal influences, we are in a time of change, but blacks have to decide if it is for good or bad. No amount of government funding can save a community that embraces ignorance, cultural death, and self-destruction. No amount of government funding can save a community that embraces ignorance, cultural death, colorism, black racism, and self-destruction. Are blacks too comfortable? Statistics tell a disturbing story. What are the solutions with blacks making 13.5% of the total population and slowly increasing? 64% of black households are single parents. Not many students graduate high school and go on to receive higher education. 1.2 million blacks, 25 and older, have advanced degrees. Even less are seeking opportunities for increased education. A paradigm shift is here, named Trayvon Martin and Jordan Davis. Will blacks continue to be assimilated or break free to their destiny of greatness? And I just wanted to emphasize that this blog is intended to motivate people to do better in their schools, in their communities, in their homes, in their churches. There needs to be more and consistent involvement when groups are formed or organizations are formed to help the community, not to hinder the community. If they're emphasizing educational resources, economic empowerment, political opportunities to participate, those are beneficial to the community and must be supported. And we cannot allow people all the time from outside our community to come into our communities to make changes. It must happen within. The terms colorism, Black racism are harsh terms, but we have to look at what we're doing to each other in our communities. We're moving into communities where we don't know our neighbors. In many cases, people don't want to be bothered. They don't want to speak to you. They don't want to say good morning. They don't want to say good afternoon. But there was a time in history where blacks spoke to each other every day. They made an effort to say good morning. They made an effort to say good afternoon. They made an effort to speak. They made an effort to make sure that their communities were safe and their communities were clean. So the emphasis is on the betterment of us as a people so that tragedies will diminish, not increase. Jordan Davis and Trayvon Martin are tragedies that happen in our communities, and we must forge ahead not to allow that to happen again, but to fight it not with physical violence, but with economic and educational resources and stabilizing our communities. Thank you.